Oh, goodness. Alyssa, I told you, so we're going to talk about a variety of things on this show that relate to life first business solopreneurs, those wanting to build a business that serve their life, not run their lives. Um, and what I was telling you offline and even in emails, you are so authentic. We get so many AI generated pitches for our show now, like, and they are just flying in. And yours stood out because I was like, oh my goodness, I know that there's a human on the other side of this. And I'm so excited to talk to her. And I'm just excited for everything you're going to share with us today. So, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm so grateful. I'm so excited to be here. It's my first ever podcast, so super excited that it's I get to be on y'all show. So yeah,
Well, Joe, I mean, not to toot our own horn, but I feel like we're a good first. I mean, we're not scary, right? Like, I think we're pretty
not at all.
welcoming.
Yeah,
Try not to be. How's
We
that?
try not to
Try really hard.
be. Well, okay. So, like, to get like all of our juices flowing, get relaxed, get into podcast mode, let's start with an icebreaker. And that is, what is your favorite thing about being a solopreneur, or in your case specifically, about building something on your own terms?
yeah, great question. So I think just being a solopreneur, getting to build a life of freedom that aligns with who I want to be, not just another organization. And to be transparent, I do work a 9 to 5, which I mean, it can be difficult. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, so I've got a lot going on, but just to not have that constant paycheck to paycheck mindset and feeling stuck and unmotivated or unfulfilled in a job that I don't just love, like I get to build whatever I want to build. And also, it all really started when, like I was young, and my favorite person in the whole world, she was my nanny. She passed away when she was 72, and that's just, I mean, right now our retirement age is 67. And in my mind, I've just always said, like, there's just no way that this is it. Like you retire and then you might pass away. You might make it to retirement. You might not. There's just so much question. And in my mind and my heart, I'm like, there's got to be more. So this is me finding my more and getting to help others find their more, if that makes sense.
I couldn't love that answer more. Because you're in a position that a lot of aspiring solopreneurs are in, and that is, I want to be a full-time solopreneur, but I do have a 9 to 5 right now that I'm wanting to leave, and I'm trying to figure out how to make that my full-time income. But you do sometimes need that to support. A lot of people can't just jump and do the whole thing right off the bat. You know what I mean? So you describe the women. I'm going back to our emails because they were so engaging. And you describe the women that you work with as successful on paper and exhausted in real time. What does that actually look like day to day for the women who come to you? And also, maybe briefly explain what you do just to give context.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now I'm a burnout coach. I'm a life coach certified, and um I just burn out when I was trying to pick my niche and figure out what my niche was going to be. I was like, there's so many different things that I love. How can I help people the most? How can I make a difference? And that's always been like what my heart is wrapped around. What can I do that will make a difference in this world? And burnout just hit me smack in the face. And so I really just help people try to figure out exactly what you just described of they are living a life where they feel unfulfilled, they are surviving, not thriving, that paycheck to paycheck life and just kind of working to live. And that's just to me unacceptable. Like we are just wasting so much. And I think a lot of these people think, one day I'll get to do this and I'll get more time with my family and I'll travel more and do all these things. And then we just one day our life away. And then there are no more days, or the means never come, or our children are grown. And where's the time? So I try to bridge that gap of stop saying one day, like, what is it that you want to do? Let's truly turn your passions into profit or whatever it is that you want it to be. Maybe it's not a profit, but take the things that you love or the things that you value. Your values definitely come into play here, and put it into motion rather than just living the day to day and the one day mindset and lifestyle.
Well, and you yourself have lived the burnout cycle, right? So can you take us back to that moment that you realized that you were just working and it just wasn't it was unsustainable? Again, you're a mom, you're a wife, you have your military wife, so you're also moving. When was the point that all of it was actually hurting you and the burnout got to be too much?
Yeah. The first thing I thought, it was like, which time? Which kind of burnout are we talking about? But, I think it was, the main shift was this last position that I was in. I know that it was a stepping stone that God put in place for a reason. And no matter how, like, miserable I was in it, we actually, ironically, were required to get certified as life coaches. None of us knew what was going on. None of us knew what a life coach was. They were just like, "Hey, you work with the executives of the organization and you need to learn how to, like, help coach these executives." I'm like, "Okay." And I was in that unfulfilled mindset, and I just felt like my hands were tied. I wasn't getting to make a difference, and the money was great. Like, everything on paper looked fantastic. I thought it was everything I ever wanted. And I still just felt stuck and having anxiety attacks. And, like, again, that there has to be more. Like, my life is made for more. And that's when I got my certification. The burnout niche hit me like a ton of bricks. And it hit me because I was like, what is a problem that I feel called to help others with? And in burnout, there's so many different types, right? When I said which time, what kind, you have a career or financial burnout, which a lot of us feel day to day because finances run this world. Everything we do typically revolves around money in some way, shape, or form. So that's a huge point of burnout for a lot of people. Um, Also, like, relationship burnout, whether it's a romantic relationship, if it's family or friends, if it's a lack thereof, like, not having companionship in these multiple ways, shapes, or forms can really take a toll on us. Because I mean, we are humans, we should be interacting. And then also personal. So removing the jobs and the other people, but what's going on internally? Are we loving who we are as a person? I just turned 30 last year, which was really hard for me. Just being like, no, I'm still just a kid. I just graduated high school or college. And then it was like, no, I'm 30 and I'm a mom, I'm a wife. Am I who I'm supposed to be? Have I done enough? Body image as you age gets more and more difficult to maintain. So there's so many different ways that burnout can show up. And that's when it was just like, there, everybody deals with some form of it. And I genuinely feel called to address that.
Well, so a lot of people also feel burnout because of unpredictability. Like there's so much going on. And I'm gonna go back to this, but as a military wife, a mom, you know what unpredictability feels like. So how has that shaped the way you think about building a business and even how you coach people, knowing that the ground could shift at any time?
Right. No, great question. So military life is very, um, I feel like uncertainty is a great word, or adaptability. That's another great word that you used, of like, there's really a lack of control because when you are military, like, you have to follow those orders. And there's times that my husband will come home from work and he's like, "This happened today." I'm like, "No, no, you need to go talk to somebody." He just says, "Who am I supposed to talk to? The president?" Like, sorry, he's not answering my phone calls.
Right.
So it's very, like, it's an uncertain thing, and there is a lot going on, especially in the world. So, but with that, right, like, I've also learned a lot from him of, strength and resilience and adaptability. But even outside of a military background, like, the world is always changing. And people have a hard time with change, right? Just when you think, okay, this is good, I'm in a right flow, in a right motion, something changes that's unpredictable. So I love this question. But I feel like I don't use it as just a feeling stuck and, like, I'm just gonna live with the uncertainty and it is what it is. Like, I don't live well in that mindset. So I more of use it as a motivator. My husband retires in 6 years, and that's super exciting. But trying to figure out how, like, what he's going to do in 6 years. That's also scary. So another great reason why I was like, I want to build an additional income stream. I want, well, multiple streams, but I want to use this as a superpower, not just a reason to stay stuck. Um, so yeah, like I feel like staying stuck felt scarier than believing in myself and trying to do something that can help my family going forward.
And how do you coach people to balance that? Like if they're not living the same life as you, like what would you say to somebody who comes to you as a client?
Yeah, so I definitely would have them just like sit down and figure out like what do you have control over versus not, right? Like what can you change personally versus what is going to change externally that you have no control over, and how are you going to react towards that? And then also just helping them get aligned with what is it that you are passionate about or you're wanting to move forward on. What are your values? I mentioned that earlier, but your values play a huge part in what you do every single day. So if one of your values is getting hit in a negative way, then that's going to cause you to respond negatively, especially when it comes to that change and adaptability and stuff. So helping them get aligned with what is it that you're wanting to do, what are your values, what are your purpose and passions, and what can you do about that now to help you feel more stable and more in control in this uncontrollable environment.
Mhm. So something that I like that you said earlier is you were talking about like you said more profit or whatever you want it to be. Because a lot of solopreneurs, they don't necessarily become solopreneurs to become the next billionaire, nor should they become solopreneurs to become the next billionaire. There's usually another why. And I thought it was interesting because you also talk about creating income that doesn't cost your clients their piece. Like that was such a unique take. What does that mean exactly?
Yeah, so I think oh, and we see this a lot in the, like, digital marketing world, and I say digital marketing, and that, like, shuts people's ears off immediately. There's a bad rap out there, but I think people get in over their heads. We're scrolling on all these social media platforms, and we honestly are brainwashed with this, like, comparison monster, of like, "Wow, look at their lives, like, I could do that," right? Like, selling on TikTok shop is a huge, like, area that's just blowing up, or being an influencer. Everyone's like, "Oh, I can go on camera and show off these outfits or these products," but then they jump into it because they saw somebody else having this success, and it's not actually as easy as they thought it was gonna be because it doesn't actually align with their, like, purpose, their passion, and what they want to do. They're just seeing somebody else doing it and like, "Oh, yeah, I could do that, and I'm just as guilty, I've done it multiple times." And I'm like, I'm not cut out for TikTok shop. That's not me. I'm a coach. So I think really just making sure like you're not jumping into something inauthentically. I love that you kind of open with that in this. The like you have to follow everything with authenticity. If it does not align with you, it's never going to be sustainable in the long run because you're trying to force things that don't actually fit with who you are.
Right. So you're saying it because everything that you try to do that's going to be successful is hard. It's hard to do it. And you're saying that if you don't doesn't align with your values, you're not going to have the stamina, the chutzpah to get through it. Right? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah. No, that makes so much sense.
And on that note, a lot of people so Joe, I thought it was so clever a couple weeks ago when I came up with skills-based business. Um, instead of life first business. And a lot of people build their businesses around a skill as opposed to like what they want out of their business. So do you see that pattern with the women that you're coaching? And like what's usually the first thing you tell them to change?
Absolutely. So a great point, right? I think it's a mindset of I think people jump into these programs or different like income streams because again, they see other people having success in it, but also they're not one, they might be jumping into it in a burnout state. Their nervous system is already shot. And then they're expecting to jump in and it to be so easy, like I'm just going to pick this skill up and run with it and I'm going to be a millionaire overnight. So one of the very first things that I always make sure to say of this is simple, but I will never say that it's easy. This is not a quick fix. It is not a get rich quick scheme. And I think so many people see it as such. Again, it's that comparison game. And I'm watching this person and they made so much money in such a short amount of time. Like, I would venture to say, like, that's almost the anomaly. Most people are going to jump into this and they're going to be like, oh, crap, this is actually a lot harder.
Can I ask you a question? I'm just
Yeah.
curious in your opinion. A lot of these people that you see that made all this money,
hmm
do you think they're telling the truth?
I don't
I,
know.
I think that they're full of it, honestly.
I feel like a lot of times just being in that space and doing it. I mean, there's been days I've had a $3,000 day, right? I've made $10,000 in a very short amount of time. So is it possible? Yes. But did I do that on day 1 or day 10 or even day 30? No. I had to put in the time and the effort. Consistency is key. And I think a lot of people jump into this and they're like, oh, well, it's just going to start. I'm just going to roll in the dough. Like, you've got to put in your time. And especially if you're in an online space, you have to build trust and you've got to build a community. You have to be authentic. If you're not being authentic, people see right through that. My radar is so high. And I'm like, I have to be authentic because that's the only person I know how to be. And I don't have time to keep up with another personality. And people know that. They take me at face value and they know that I'm in this for them, for their success and not my own.
Well, so for somebody that's building their business and they're like, I'm putting in my reps, like I'm doing so much. I've hit day 30 and beyond. I'm not seeing everything. And they're overwhelmed and they're already hitting the burnout cycle before their business even really starts.
Yeah.
What is the first thing you would tell a client to do like this week? Like not next quarter, but even today, what would be the first piece of advice you would give them to get out of that burnout and refocus on what they want out of their business?
Yes, and so real, so realistic. I would say the first thing is like you've got to sit down and almost do like a personal audit or a business audit. Like, okay, what is causing that burnout? Right. And like the different things, the different ways of burnout I mentioned earlier, like figure it out, maybe draw it out, line it out. Is it a financial thing? Am I missing out on time with my family? And that's the whole reason I jumped into this was to get more time with them. Like, what is the root cause or causes of why you're feeling this burnout? And you've got to realign. And most of the time there's probably something in there that you can cut. And I'm not saying like, oh, well, my family, they're the problem. Like, you can't cut your family out. So no, there's probably some redundancies or, we talked about AI, right? There's a proper use of AI. I think there are such great things. I use AI to help me with my like content of like, hey, my content really isn't converting into what I want it to convert to right now, or I'm just not getting the response that I used to get. What do you think the misalignment is? Or I really want to branch this in because everything's adaptable, right? I really want to branch this in. How can you help me realign that? And using AI to help you minimize the manual work and labor and time spent is incredible. Stop trying to do it by yourself, but figure out how to use it where you still sound like yourself, right? Like go through, edit it, make it sound like you. But what can you cut out that's just redundancies that's getting in the way of you not getting enough time with your family or what feels inauthentic? Like if you're struggling with it and you're burnt out, are you doing something that's not actually aligning with what you originally wanted to do?
It's one of the things that it sometimes has to happen, right? Is that you need to kind of reimagine the business. I mean, because as Carly was talking about the skills first business, right? We come in and we go, I know how to do this. I'm going to build a business. I'm going to make money, and then maybe you do make money, but the skill being implemented in the way that you kind of simply learned how thought to monetize it doesn't align with the life you want to live. And that's why, as you're kind of suggesting, and we're suggesting, you want to start with that kind of life first. What am I going to get out of this? And it isn't, hey kids, I got bad news, I got to let you go.
Right. Get out.
And so yeah, I mean, it's really, really important sometimes to step back and say, hey, how can this business be reimagined to take my skills and execute in such a way that I can actually, live the way I want to live.
Right. And remember
We
your
see that a
why.
lot.
That's a great point. Like remember why you got into it in the first place, right? It wasn't just, oh well, I just want to make more money. But why? Why do you want to make more money? Why did you do it? Like what truly called out? Like, is it you want more time with your family? Is it you want to travel more? You want less cortisol in the body that's bringing you down, and you want more of those happy chemicals being released. Like, what is your true why? And get realigned with that. Write your goals out. Like what's missing?
Joe, I don't know if I told you this when I realized my why. And it's like a sentimental thing, but a couple years ago, I was pushing my very young toddler on the swings, and I was with a friend, and it was like 9 a.m. on a Tuesday or something. And Joe called, and I answered, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll be back on my computer in like an hour." And my friend was like, "Oh, do you have to go?" And I was like, "No." And she was like, "Where did you tell me you were?" And I was like, "The playground with my kid?" Because what are you talking about? And it was the realization of like, I wanted a career that I could still push my kid when she's 1.5, 2 years old on the swing set, and then an hour later be at my computer while she's napping type thing. You know what I mean? And these whys can be so insignificant like that, but so impactful. And that's what I always want to remind people. It doesn't have to be a profound, like, I want to change the world. It can be, I want to take my dog for a walk when nobody else is at the
Yes.
dog park type thing. I don't know.
Right.
So I was just, when you were talking about that, I got reminiscent about that. But I want to tie kind of a lot of things you were saying together. And that is, you're currently collaborating, excuse me, on a digital marketing program that covers burnout, UGC, making money online, which I feel like are all little things we've talked about. So what was missing from the online business space that made you say, I need to build this?
Yes. So, and without naming any names, because I definitely don't want to bash anyone. I think everybody's just out here trying to survive. I think we're all just humans and we're trying to do the best that we can. If you haven't listened to Cody Johnson's Human, like go listen to it. So good. But I joined a couple different programs because I was in this space. I was burnt out. They were promising the world and mentorship and community. And then you jump in and like almost immediately, I told you my authenticity radar is like up here, my discernment, like I immediately was like, no, this is not what I thought I signed up for. And so I jumped in and it's like, oh yeah, super easy. Just do this. You'll make this much. And people are saying, oh, I had a $20,000 month and you can too. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm busting my butt. And like, that hasn't happened for me. So it was just one of those things where there was some stuff that happened and I like missed out on money that I very clearly I had made a sale and I didn't receive that sale. So I was like, okay, let's pump the brakes again. This feels inauthentic. I'm not aligned with this. And I definitely don't want to keep bringing others into this space when they have the same wants that I do and then them not getting that on the other side. Like I'm wasting their time and money. And I can't sleep at night feeling that. So I started, okay, I'm just going to have to create my own program. And there's so much I don't know, but I can't keep doing this. I can't keep promoting these programs. So I'm just going to have to make my own. And then found some of my really good friends that I've met in the space, and the same types of things had happened to them. And they had the same mindset too. So that's really when, we connected and I was like, hey, I'm building this like freedom AI module that's going to learn the person, who they are, their passions, their values, what pace they can go at. Like, are you a stay-at-home mom? Are you a single, like 18-year-old? Like, who are you? What do you want to do? Also, what are your traumas? Like, what are your even like your mental characteristics, right? I'm OCD, I have a squirrel brain, like all these different things that I used to look at as my weaknesses. And I'm like, no, these are actually my superpowers. But I have to consider that when I'm jumping into this entrepreneurial lifestyle because it can't just be a cookie cutter, everybody like one size fits all. Like, no, I'm not a type A personality that's going to buy this program and thrive and just make all this money. Like, I'm going to have doubts. My OCD is like perfectionism to the 10. Like, how am I going to incorporate all this? So this module that I built helps you, it learns exactly who you are, walks you step by step with all these curated questions that you have to answer. And then it's always there for you. A mentor that can help you hustle. If you start feeling burnt out, hey, this is what's going on right now. And I'm not aligned. I feel burnt out. I really want to quit. And it's going to say, whoa, 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 pump the brakes. And it's going to take you back through the cycle, what needs to change. And that doesn't exist in other programs, right? The community that they promised wasn't there. And in YPE, it is there because these ladies left those communities to build their own community. So it was just a group of authentic women that wanted to make a difference, wanted to help, but didn't just want this cookie cutter buy now and have this easy like program type situation. It was just different without the scams, without the BS of just everybody can thrive here. You just have to figure out what it is you want to do and stay consistent.
Yeah.
That was a
Uh,
lot.
well, so on top of
Sounds
all of
intense.
that, you're also doing a retreat to help with burnout. I mean, so many of our
Yeah.
listeners face this, so I'm just trying to give them all the resources they can
Right.
to combat it. What's this retreat about?
So the retreat is definitely still in the developmental phase. It's not ready yet, but make sure that you connect with me because it will be one day. This is a huge thing for me. And retreats have kind of been my thing this year of like, wow, this is amazing. I just went to like a yoga retreat where we just relaxed and chilled out and kind of got clear. And this was just last week. So I've been fever dreaming about the burnout retreat for a while, but it's a way for people to come in and like physically, mentally, and emotionally just relax and unwind and reset, if you will, reset, redirect, but get clear on what it is that you want and especially what it is that is causing the burnout. And I also have this idea of down the line, once we really get established and are rocking and rolling, that I could even break it up into, okay, this retreat is burnout specifically based around career and finances. And then we solely fill it with different like sessions of this is what we're doing, this is what we're talking about, whether it's early retirement or maybe it is making money online. Like we'll have different sessions going on that people can join. And we will go out for hikes and like get physically reacclimated and reset. And then, of course, we could do one on relationship building or personal burnout, aging. Like, there's so many ways that we can unbox this. And I'm just so excited. But yeah, I just really wanted a space where people could just get away for a minute and just for a few days, reset, get your nervous systems back under control, and really figure out what it is that you are wanting and what are those first few steps, right? We're talking A through C steps, not A through Z, not the whole alphabet. Just what are the first few things that I need to do to feel more in control and start moving back in the direction that I've always wanted to?
Yeah. Well, Alyssa, your first podcast interview ever is about to wrap up. So take a deep breath. All the hard questions are done. We do have a question we ask all of our guests, which is what is your favorite quote about success? And then we'll ask about where people can find you.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite quotes, just in general, that I've followed through this entire journey is whether you think you can or you cannot, you're right, right? Henry Ford. So it's all about your mindset and where you are planning on going. If you're going to be pessimistic and I can't do it and like you're just going to be negative about it, then you won't. Your brain listens to every single thing that you tell it. So it's like, oh, okay, we can't. All right, well, all right, then you won't. Here's a bunch of fear, here's a bunch of doubt, and also like here's a migraine because why not, right? Like you can't anyway, go to bed. You're done. Versus if you're optimistic and even I will say another thing, if you are jumping into this world, we talked about it. It's not an easy get rich quick, but you are going to learn life lessons. You're going to learn like, okay, so that's not what I needed to actually do, or that didn't really work out. Like, okay, learn from that and keep building on it. Not every single decision that you make is going to be correct. But you can either look at those instances as mistakes or reasons to quit or give up or that you're a failure, or you can look at them as opportunities or lessons and, okay, what can I learn from this and how can I do better next time? So,
That's so great. Well, Alyssa, you have a lot in the pipeline. You have a lot coming up. Where can people find you if they want to learn more and keep tabs on everything you're doing?
yes, I would love that. So I am mostly just on TikTok right now, at Freedom Beyond Burnout, what we're all looking for, right? And I go live a lot. I post here and there, and I really try to make time to. I've made a lot of like B-roll and to schedule content, but really where I thrive is being live, getting on camera. I just built a brand new house, and we moved in last week. So I got
That's
my live backtrack. Thank you. Thank you so much. Another like dream, right? That I was able to do because of what I believed in and put forth in front of me. But I just got my live backdrop built last week. So I should be going live hopefully this next week once I get home from vacation. But I love, honestly, just people jumping in my lives and saying, like, hey, I'm burnt out. I don't know what to do. I feel stuck. I feel hopeless. And I actually love reading people's bios. So make sure your bio is set up if you jump on my lives. But I love just reading their bios and saying, okay, based on just what I'm reading right here, I don't know you, but your bio says this about you. And I really feel like you could do this, 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 and that. And they're always like, what? I didn't even think about that. And I've had people jump on, and I hope this is okay to say in the episode, but I've had people say, like, oh, well, I'm just a recovering drug addict or alcoholic or whatever. Or one person was like, all I know is grief. Like, that's all I know. And I've, to all of these people, said, wait a minute, let's take a step back and put some power behind those statements. Like, you're recovering? Think about all the people that are not yet recovering. And you are a few steps ahead of them, maybe, and they just need help making that first step. Or grief. Do you know how many people deal with grief in their life? Like, they are just maybe crawling or not even moving. And all they need is for you to show up and just be a light that they can walk towards, right? It's almost a disservice for me even, to say, I have all this that I know and that I can help people with, and to not show up. That's a disservice to others because I can help them just make that first step that they're needing. So no matter what your background is, like, jump on my live. I promise we can get you moving in a direction that fulfills you and somehow aligns with your joys, your passions, your purpose.
great. Well, Alyssa, thank you so, so much for coming on the show today. We did it. Um,
We did.
and listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, please leave that 5-star review. It helps us spread the word to other solopreneurs trying to lead a life first business. Subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, including YouTube, and share this episode with a fellow solopreneur. And we'll see you next week on The Aspiring Solopreneur.